wants to know enough to talk about couple that went wrong. Today we will talk about couple that worked. Instead of suffering for identifying today, we will suffer for not identifying. It's complicated, and I already had commented on the relationship of Eileen and Rigby in another video. But I feel that because they are the best couple of just a show, for sure they deserve one. Video talking about the incredible relationship they have, why it worked, and if it kept until the end of the cartoon, and ended up being a healthy thing that did good for both of them. I will also talk a little more about this great character that is Eileen, and about the very interesting effect that certain people cause in our life. I've dubbed this feeling the Eileen effect, so come with me and let's try to understand it right there. It's not very difficult to realize that at the beginning of the cartoon, Eileen was portrayed as a friend of the beautiful girl. She was extremely intelligent, lively. Sometimes it was a little weird. Besides showing no control over her feelings about Rigby, doing anything she could with the intention of conquering them to be noticed, what came to fit into a certain obsession that was far from being something healthy, since it was very exhausting, so much for her that she ended up not valuing herself, leaving self-love aside, and getting herself mentally damaging with this obsession of her. As for Rigby, who felt quite uncomfortable with it, for not having interest in her, maybe just because she acted that way too. Eileen, in the beginning, it was exactly the same thing that Mordecai was with Margaret. However, she can learn from these mistakes and evolve much faster than Mordecai. And as Rigby was in the beginning, we already know, was selfish, immature, annoying, and with very questionable attitudes that made them be seen as a bad person. And all this even leaves me wondering, what did Eileen see in him? I don't know, maybe she thinks he's fun, or it was a more physical attraction. Even I really have no idea. And Rigby was always bothered with her presence and avoided her as much as she could, always rejecting in all the attacks that she did, and demonstrating to feel suffocated and cornered by her love, and hate the fact of being seen mainly by Mordecai as being the love interest of Eileen, since he felt ashamed of it, for considering her a weird and boring person. And it is a fact that we all need to have our own respected space. And when someone ignores this and is forcing the bar, insisting on approaching and create something in a way that is not natural and that ends up becoming unpleasant, the last thing we will want is this person around, right? However, in the course of the seasons, they end up starting a loving relationship that really works, is beautiful, and remains firm until the end of the drawing, and for the several years that pass, with them starting a family and living together as shown in the last episode. But in so much chaos involving relationships and regular show, why this one works? Well, as I had commented before, life is change, and in this case, here it does not cease to be, but this is not due to the fact that their relationship does not work and they have to move on from one to another, but rather the question of both changing a lot within the work to make that relationship work. As the plot goes forward, Eileen matures and stops acting in a weird way, lets us have that obsession, and he values himself more and goes more calmly, respecting Rigby's space and understanding him better, which results in a natural friendship that later becomes one relationship. Rigby also matures a lot, stop being that irresponsible and childish guy who only called himself, to become a better person who was able to care about the feelings of others. And this change of both is slowly developed as the cartoon goes on, is something that, just as in real life, has its time. Nobody changes from one as another. That is a gradual thing, but as long as it takes, both have a lot of patience with each other and with themselves throughout this process, since they know something complex to feel. This on the skin, both care about feelings of the partner and end up recognizing that they have many defects. But despite this, they strive daily to improve because it will make the other happier within this relationship. And this evolution comes in an easier way because of the support they receive, and that enhances what they have the best, which results in a relationship that, besides loving, also turns out to be an authentic friendship. Something that becomes simple, natural, healthy, and does well, makes them change and grow as people. Not one thing that completes them, but one thing that overflows everything they had best, awakens this in each of them. Rigby and Eileen work out and provides a better relationship that we saw in regular show, are not the same as the beginning of the cartoon, are versions of them that grow and become better people, changed, and the most amazing is that they did this without losing the essence that made them. Rigby remains a relaxed and fun guy who enjoys playing video games. Eileen continues to be responsible and intelligent, and these differences, they also end up providing a balance that is important to make this relationship work so well. In my opinion, makes this is the best couple in the cartoon. an example to be followed, and a proof that love is worth it when it is healthy. And what would be the Eileen effect I commented at the beginning of this video? Would basically be when that a certain person arrives in our life and awakens the best in us simply by loving us. That good influence that inspires us to evolve and makes us understand that the people can be more, because we deserve more, because we can do great things and be better people. And as much as we are human, we pass far from being perfect, yet we can change, can grow, because when you realize how that person knows he knows your flaws, yet still chooses to love you, as imperfect you be, so as in the case of Rigby, is where there is true love. And believe me, when I say love exists, it's out there. And if you find someone who causes Eileen effect in yours life, treasure it, my friend. People like that are very, very rare.